Hey, what is going on, everybody? I hope you all are doing well today. Elliot here. Welcome back to The Fragrance Well. It is time for me to do my best pickup so far as of Q3 of 2024. I like to do this every quarter, if you will. Just kind of reflect on what I've added to my collection up to that point and see, did I make some good decisions? Did I make some bad ones? I am happy to say I haven't really made too many bad ones this year, and that was intentional. As you know, last year I bought 80 fragrances in 1 year, and that was not a good decision. Now I am approaching 40, and with that being said, I do plan to do the same thing I did near the end of the year last year and do an entire collection video where I'll show you my entire collection again. I will do my best 20 pickups and my worst 20 pickups, so I'm approaching 40 pickups for the year, so I'll be able to do that again. But for today, I'm just gonna choose 10 of the best pickups, and let me tell you guys, this was not easy. What I did do was picked out the ones that were kind of like no-brainers. They're gonna make the list regardless, and then tried to fill it out, and I just kind of did it without thinking too hard about it, because if I thought about it, I'd be back and forth with myself for 30 minutes trying to choose the best 10. But I just kind of picked the first ones that came to mind. So I've got more than 10 that I definitely consider excellent pickups for this year, but we're just gonna feature 10 for this video. This is not a ranked list. They're in no particular order, just 10 great additions to my collection. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Before we do, as always, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you do like the content and haven't already, and please hit that bell icon, enable notifications so you can be notified when I upload new videos. Let's get into it. All right, so in no particular order, starting off with Wilhelm Parfumerie, we've got Morning Chess here. Wilhelm Parfumerie Morning Chess. So this is actually one of the first fragrances I got this year, and I believe I've featured this one on every list I've done like this, or should I say every video I've done like this. And this is one of those ones that just makes the cut. There's no doubt about it. This is bergamot, very juicy bergamot that does share a similar usage style to Creed's Aventus, but the fragrance in and of itself does not smell like Aventus, even though it does get compared to it. But this one has some bitter green characteristics coming by way of galbanum and has a very nice leather accord, and that's kind of the main thing that sets this apart from Aventus, and it's also what I love the most about this scent. There's something about that galbanum leather combination that this fragrance has that just takes this one over the top for me. I thoroughly enjoy wearing this. You could say the base of the fragrance is a little bit ambery, but not in a sweet way, and somewhat woody, maybe a little bit earthy. But for me, it's really just that leather and that bitter green characteristic that kind of holds this scent together for me. Overall, very simplistic in nature, not a whole lot going on with the scent. I don't really get a lot of change from the smell of the fragrance, but this stuff just works for me. So once again, from Wilhelm Parfumerie, this is Morning Chess. All right, next one, coming from Rosé Parfums. It's Isola Blu. Rosé Parfums, Isola Blu. Let me tell you about this one here. This one here, when I do my top 20 pickups for the year, this one will at minimum be in the top 10, probably will be in the top 5. So this one's, was one that was easy to put onto this particular video. This one is a collection of orange citrus, lemony citrus. There's also a little bit of a grapefruit-like citrus. So it's this collection of citrus notes that smell heavenly, in my opinion. It's some of the best citrus I've smelled in fragrance up to this point. And then it's kind of this combination of aromatic notes, lavender, maybe some thyme, something of that nature, and woods, clean blonde woods, dried woods, maybe some musky accords. All of that though is really in the background. It makes up the base of the fragrance, but it's a very light base. It's all about the citrus and the aromatics for me with this fragrance. I love the way this stuff smells. This is something that I think kind of defines me in a bottle in terms of a fresh fragrance variety. And man, I just simply love this stuff. I've talked about it plenty on this channel, so longtime viewers, it shouldn't really be a surprise. Once again, from Rosé Parfums, this is Isola Blu. All right, moving on to one coming from Zaharoff. This is Signature Rosé. Zaharoff Signature Rosé. Not only is this one of my best pickups for the year, it's one of my most successful blind buys overall, because I did blind buy this, even though I shouldn't have, but I did. And oh gosh, I was looking to add more rose fragrances to the collection, so I had heard about this one from some other creators and just people talking about it in general. And this is a wonderful rose scent. I get a lot of varieties of rose in this. Some jammy rose, a little bit green stemmy rose, a little bit of that lemony-like rose smell, mixing with kind of incense and resins. Not really smoky overall, but it just kind of has that base to it. Some rich woods, very luxurious rose smelling fragrance. This one is, and it does have some sweetness as well to kind of balance all of that out. I love wearing this stuff. All I can say is if you are a fan of rose fragrances that really dive into featuring many styles of rose, this is a good one. I got some other ones I want to add that do that as well, but this one here is a great one that does it in terms of giving you a lot of varieties of rose in one fragrance. So once again from Zaharoff, this is Signature Rosé. Next up, coming from Mason Francis Kirkjohn, we have got Aqua Media Cologne Forte. Mason Francis Kirkjohn Aqua Media Cologne Forte. So this one here is one of their later releases, featuring a beautiful matcha tea accord. It is amazing in my opinion. Get some lime-like citrus. It's very green in nature, and most of that is kind of being pushed by this note or accord of fennel, which I have not come across in any other fragrance. So that's what kind of really makes this one unique. And also the matcha tea style of green tea is not something I've seen a lot in fragrances, although I know there's other matcha fragrances out there, but in general you'll find other varieties of tea. So it does have that going for it. Really nice musk, kind of making up the base notes of this scent. This stuff here is great for the warm weather, so me being a Florida guy, you know, this is a really good addition to my fragrance collection, and this is another one that easily was going to make a video like this. I had to put it on here. Once again, from Mason Francis Kirkjohn, this is Aqua Media Cologne Forte. All right, the next one is coming from Louis Vuitton, and this is gonna be Imagination. Louis Vuitton Imagination. For this pickup, I consider it a blue scent in terms of how you can use it. The utility on this is insane. You can literally use it for everything. I mean, there's no situation that I can think of where I would say I wouldn't really go with Imagination. This one is a tea fragrance also, but it's more of a black tea, so it's kind of more of a neutral tea smell. It actually has a really nice soapiness to it. I do think there's neroli in here, maybe contributing to that. There's also some Ceylon cinnamon, which is a very bright form of cinnamon, also contributing to that cleanliness that this has. Nice bergamot as well. I think there's some ginger in here too. And then you've also just got this heavy dose of ambroxan. Once the fragrance dries down, it's pretty much just ambroxan to my nose, but it works and it smells amazing. It's a simple fragrance, really a great testament to taking simple ingredients that are used in a lot of other fragrances and creating something that is just masterful. This is a masterful fragrance creation in my opinion. So once again, from Louis Vuitton, this is Imagination. All right, so the next one is going to be coming from Kajal, and this is going to be Masa. Kajal Masa. This fragrance here, what you're going to get from it is basically a fruity patchouli. That's kind of the main two things I get from this scent. Really kind of this rich apple, crispy kind of fruitiness. There's definitely some citric elements kind of adding to that crispiness. The patchouli in this I find to not be too earthy. It's more of a leafy patchouli. I don't really get as much of the earthiness. I really don't get any of the kind of chocolatey characteristics you sometimes can get from patchouli. Really nice musk in this. There's definitely some vetiver, probably something like cedar or just some dried woody characteristics, probably a little bit of incensey notes in this as well. I really love this stuff. It's definitely compliment garnering for me. It is powerful. It lasts all day long. Really great scent from the House of Kajal that I don't think quite gets the attention it deserves, but honestly I think a lot of people either just haven't heard about this one or just haven't gotten their nose on it yet. It's a newer release, and sometimes newer releases need a little bit more time to earn their flowers, because you know most people talk about Lamar, which is amazing from this house, but that's neither here nor there. This one easily made the list for me. So once again, from Kajal, this is Masa. All right, so the next one is coming from Chris Collins, and this is African Rooibos. Chris Collins African Rooibos. Now this was not a blind buy. I did order a discovery set from Chris Collins way earlier in the year, and naturally African Rooibos just had to be the first one I needed to add to the collection from the house. But there are a few others I have my eye on. But I gotta tell you, man, this is one of those scents that this year really just blew my mind. I mean, this smells amazing. Features a note of Rooibos tea, obviously, as the name implies. Rooibos tea I do find to be fairly earthy, but kind of a slight fruitiness off the top. And this one here also makes use of really dried woods like cedar. There's a very heavy cedar wood element to this. There's quite a bit of a spicy collection to the fragrance as well. It's overall spicy and woody, very dry in nature, kind of smells like autumn. I just think like a day in autumn where leaves have all fallen, but it's like actually kind of warm and they've all dried out. They're not wet. That's kind of what this reminds me of. And you take those leaves and you burn them. That's a way of getting rid of them sometimes, especially if you have the space to do so. That's kind of what this reminds me of. Doesn't smell like burning leaves. It just kind of paints that picture of dryness in my mind. And that's the kind of thing, the thing I just associate with it the best. But wonderful, spicy, woody tea fragrance. Smells amazing. Get your nose on this. Get a sample of this if you're a fan of tea fragrances. This is definitely a cooler weather tea fragrance and you might like it. Once again, from Chris Collins, this is African Rooibos. Next one is coming from Memo Paris, and this is African Leather. Memo African Leather. I'm sure many of you guys are familiar with this scent. This is the most popular fragrance from this house, bar none. It's not even close, at least in terms of the community. But oh man, this is look, it is a leather fragrance. Many people would say I don't really get leather from this. There's leather in there, but it's kind of in the background, which is a little bit weird considering the name. But you get this blast of cardamom and other spices. You get this blast of saffron. You get this blast of like rich, like thick, ambery kind of accords, and also a lot of rose. There's a lot of rose in this scent. I know there's a fragrance called African Rose. If I have got my nose on it, I don't remember it because it might have just been too long ago, but I plan to get my nose on that. Someone in the comments even mentioned it. I am going to get my nose on that one because I am curious, but I get a lot of rose from this fragrance. But the leatheriness is definitely there. If you're someone who's not new to fragrances and your nose is a little bit more developed, I would say then you can pick out the leathery notes. I actually got my nose on this before I ever started collecting. I couldn't pick up the leather then either. But this stuff smells heavenly. It does have a little bit of a funk kind of hiding in the background there, but popular for a reason. And I just kind of slept on getting my hands on it for the longest, but I finally got it now. Easily one of my best pickups so far. Once again, from Memo, this is African Leather. All right, so the next one is coming from Amouage, and this is Jubilation 40. Amouage Jubilation 40. And just speaking of Amouage, I've added quite a few Amouages this year. It was hard to pick one for this video, but you know, I wouldn't really have been mad with any of the choices I picked. So anyway, Jubilation 40, as many of you guys know, is the 40th year anniversary release from the House of Amouage, and also a flanker to Jubilation 25, which was a 25-year anniversary release, if I'm not mistaken. That's my understanding of it. This one took that Jubilation DNA and it just intensified the fruitiness and added a slight booziness to it, and also intensified the woodiness to the fragrance. So this one, I get blackberry type fruitiness, this collection of smoky notes, incensey notes, resinous notes, woody notes. That's kind of the overall makeup of this scent. And I get a lot more oud kind of characteristics in this one than I do from the original. And also just the dried woodiness that it has. It's intensified in this one. That's the main differences I get from Jubilation 25 to Jubilation 40. This stuff smells heavenly in my opinion. I actually got my nose on it last year, which I think last year is when it came out, if I'm not mistaken. But I was kind of waiting for it to, you know, hit the discounters, people to get their hands on it, to be selling at a lower price, and I got a pretty good deal on this. And there's no doubt about it, this is just some of the best of Amouage in a bottle in my opinion. Once again, from Amouage, we have got Jubilation 40. All right, and last, but certainly not least, coming from Savoir Faire, this is Hellaflora. Savoir Faire Hellaflora. This is definitely the newest release I have on this video. This was literally released less than a month ago, if I'm not mistaken. Part of what they call the Dope Floral Collection. So it was 3 fragrances from the house, from the independent house. Check out the House of Savoir Faire if you haven't. Amazing house with what I've got my nose on so far. And this one here, obviously as the name implies, it is floral. I get fruitiness, fruity floral accords. It's a little bit spicy too, kind of a slight floral spicy edge. There's this very kind of almost maple, sugary muskiness to it, and that's kind of the overall makeup. Some of the florals I get out of this, I definitely can get jasmine. There may be some rose. I can't remember if there was iris listed as one of the notes. If there is iris, it's not coming across in the way of like an iris fragrance. The note I definitely get my nose on the most is going to be the jasmine. Very smooth, creamy jasmine, not indolic at all to my nose. And the fruitiness, I guess you could say it's, think maybe like something like peach or lychee to a degree. You know, I don't get like an outright fruitiness smell, not something real. But yeah, this one here really blew my mind. Out of that collection of fragrances I got, this is the one I wanted to get first. This is just a wonderful floral collection that I think, you know, men and women can rock easily. But you know, guys, don't be afraid of this one in terms of it being a floral fragrances that men can definitely pull off. Also, I think this is a great run to rock with the upcoming autumn season. Once again, from Savoir Faire, this is Hellaflora. All right, guys, that is going to do it for this video. That was 10 of my best additions to my collection for the year of 2024 up to this point. The next time I basically do the videos around this subject matter, it's going to be my top 20 pickups and my worst 20 pickups, and I will do a video where I go over my entire collection again. Let me know down in the comments below what have been some of your best pickups for the year of 2024. Looking forward to seeing what you guys have added to your collection. Thanks again for watching all the way into the end. I really do appreciate you guys. Please remember to be well and smell well. And I will see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.